All right, here we go. It's giving me a hard time here, so bear with me. There we go. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Welcome to the Monday, October 16th, 2023 Development Activities Meeting. We have 4 groups in attendance tonight. We have the Hill District Consensus Group, Hill Community Development Corporation, or Hill CDC, Hill District Collaborative, and Uptown Partners of Pittsburgh. Development Activities Meetings. The Registered Community Organization Program is administered through the Department of City Planning to incorporate community input and development activities. Applicants requesting to go before the the Zoning Board of Adjustment, the Planning Commission, the Historic Review Commission, and or the Public Art and Civic Design Commission for a public hearing in whose projects meet certain thresholds must coordinate with the corresponding RCOs and the Department of City Planning to hold a development activities meeting to engage the community. A DAM, pardon the acronym, provides community stakeholders an opportunity to learn about proposals that may affect them and to share any concerns they may have before a project moves on to public hearing. Reporting to boards and commissions. The neighborhood planner or designee, which is Adriana Bowman tonight, takes notes on the meeting and completes a report, including a brief summary of the project as it is presented, the permission sought that prompted the need for the DAM, the questions asked by you as attendees, and the answers they received. This report is provided to the relevant boards or commission prior to the hearing on the project so that they can understand the nature of the meeting and the project that was discussed. The DAM report is neutral and makes no conclusions. If you have strong feelings about the project, you should still consider attending the board or commission meeting and testifying. How to participate. Presenters or presenter. Please clearly describe the slide being presented in order to assist those participating via audio to follow along with the presentation. If the host needs to change your status in the meeting, there may be a pause or a reconnection circle. Do not restart Zoom, let it finish. After each presentation, we will invite questions and comments in this order. First, the chat and Q&A tool are enabled for you to type out your questions. The moderator will read out these questions in order they are received. Second, if you would like to speak out your question, your question out loud, you may tap the raise hand button. The moderator will unmute attendees who have raised hands when ready. Third, for voice call-ins, press *9 to raise your hand. The moderator will announce the last 4 digits of your phone number and unmute when ready. The meeting is being recorded to allow any stakeholders who were not able to attend to watch the proceedings at a later time. We have one item on the agenda tonight, and that is the Uptown Mural Neighborhood Gateway sign at 605 Forbes Avenue. Dr. Brittany McDonald of Uptown Partners of Pittsburgh is the project applicant, and there's no developer. There are multiple RCOs applicable to reviewing tonight's projects. When there are 2 or more RCOs convening a DAM, the RCO's guidelines denotes that the Department of City Planning hosts the DAM meeting in coordination with the RCOs. Prior to the introduction and project presentation, we would like to offer each RCO a chance to speak about their work and about any engagement they had on the project. Up first is the Hill District Consensus Group.
Okay, I got my sound together. I'll stop doing my video. Yeah, so whatever, I got one to work. So neither the consensus group nor the collaborative has updated their PowerPoints. And if everybody doesn't mind, well, let me say this for any audience that may be listening. Basically, the Hill District Consensus Group has been involved in community development and community decision making for more than 30 years. We have not engaged around this particular project. However, it has been our practice to defer to Uptown Partners around projects in their area, and so we look forward to seeing what is planned there. So that's the short and sweet version. I'm done, in other words.
Thank you, Dr. Young. I will proceed to the next set of slides. I will pass it over to Dylan from the Hill CDC.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dylan Brown. I am a Policy and Planning Associate at the Hill CDC. This slide has the wrong applicant. As we just established, we have Uptown Partners, and Dr. McDonald is presenting on their behalf today. So if you go to the next slide, I'll briefly go over the Hill CDC. We're a place-based organization that's been in the Hill District for over 35 years. One of our mottos is where cultural legacy meets future innovation. The next slide talks about our focus area, or our mission first, which is to work in partnership with both residents and stakeholders to create, promote, and implement strategies that connect plans, policies, and people to drive compelling community development opportunities in the Greater Hill District. Our focus areas, as mentioned, are people, place, and policy. And on the next slide, we talk about each of those little buckets. So under place, we do lots of work with policy and planning. And this is the work that most often gets us in trouble, but my boss always says it's good trouble to be getting into. Under economic development, that more has to deal with our people-oriented focus, where we're working with businesses and entrepreneurs to help grow their businesses, as well as develop an arts and culture commercial corridor along Center Avenue. And our place work is focusing on real estate development, growing the homeowners in the Hill, and really trying to help rehab and rehabilitate all of our different lots. Next slide goes over our development review panel, which as an RCO, we use this to be the Hill District's unified community review process. It's a two-step process review that gives really robust community feedback to developers who are interested in redeveloping in the Hill District. On the next slide, it kind of gives a little bit more background around the founding of this DRP. It's over a decade old, and we did this with negotiations with our community stakeholders throughout the Greater Hill District. On the next slide, it talks about kind of how the process goes. So we've now reviewed over 50 projects as a body, which is really exciting, especially for the continued growth of the Hill District. We expect to see another 50, maybe even faster than the last 10 years. So we're really excited about where it's going. These are the member orgs of the DRP. The next slide kind of talks, and it gives you a background of like different projects that we've seen. So we bucket our projects as completed the process, currently in the process, or were reviewed by the panel and the committee and determined not to be in alignment with the Greater Hill District Master Plan. So we've reviewed over 50 projects, as I said, and the next slide kind of covers the two processes that I mentioned. The first is a deep dive review and scoring at the committee level. All of our organizations have appointments to the DRP panel. And so that is how we have established the unified review process for the Hill District. And so the first part of that review is by the panel members. They score the project in alignment with the Greater Hill District Master Plan. And if a score is determined to be in alignment, then the project is passed on to the community, where developers will get to present in front of every single Hill District resident that is able to make it and has questions. On the next slide, it'll detail our responsibilities. Jose, if you could go to the next slide. So as I said, as an RCO, we are responsible for reviewing projects, and the Hill District DRP is our unified voice for review. So if a cumulative score is given 80% or higher, then a letter of support is sent on behalf of the DRP to elected officials and the appropriate agencies that are reviewing the development. However, if a cumulative score less than 80% is given, that doesn't mean the process ends. It just means that it might take a little bit longer as we work with developers and applicants to get their project more in alignment with our master plan. And we also have special regulations for developments that happen in the Lower Hill. As it's a specially planned district, we have the applicable CSIP agreement that we also score our projects on in the first round of scoring. And so that's why we always say if the developer chooses to abandon or disengage with our DRP community review process, then as an RCO, we will draft a letter of non-support. And this is something that we do not like to do. We want everyone to see the DRP as a bridge to development, not a barrier. And so it's really important that we stress to any applicant that we are excited about their project, but we want them to participate in our established community review processes. And then on the next slide, we talk about today's applicant, which is Dr. Brittany McDonald with Uptown Partners. Unfortunately, as of today, they haven't submitted to our DRP process. So we do encourage them and any applicant who watches tonight's meeting to formally submit their presentations to the DRP at hilldistrict.org/DRP submission. And so, as I said on the last slide, as an RCO, we only endorse projects that have completed this review panel process. And as you saw earlier, you can see different successful projects at hilldistrict.org/DRP. We do encourage, on the next slide, Jose, there are ways for people to get involved with the Hill CDC. We have over 2,500 residents and stakeholders that review our weekly roundups emails. We also are active on all of the different social media that you see here, and we do like to use LinkedIn a lot, so please follow us there as well. Thank you all so much for your time.
So for the Hill District Collaborative, I'm representing them as well. Basically, we started in March of 2020. We came into existence to ensure that a broad set of community voices was involved in the review of developments in the Hill District, as we found that the processes of the DRP were actually problematic. And so we came into existence to open up that process and allow for more community voices. Next slide, please. So our goal is to make sure that the Hill District is redeveloped into a safe, commercially thriving community. Our purpose is to inform, engage, and connect Hill District residents, landowners, and business owners, and nonprofits so that the community's interests and positions can influence decisions on real estate development, economic development, and public safety. And again, our goal is to create a collaborative forum that is inclusive and respects all community members. Next, please. I'm going to skip past this area because, again, folks on this call have seen it many times. And just say in regard to, if you can go to the next slide, please, Jose. In terms of the Uptown Partners development, again, the collaborative has not engaged around this project, but we would defer to Uptown as this is a marker in their section of town. And so that is what we have to say about that. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Young. I will pass this over to Scott from Uptown Partners.
Hello, I'm Scott. I'm with Uptown Partners. I'm the program manager for real estate and development. Next slide, please. It's a small but mighty team of myself, Dr. Brittany McDonald, and Dajanique Johnson, who is the community project manager and the executive director. And the mission of Uptown Partners is it's a community-based organization of residents, institutions, business owners, all working together to build a vibrant and sustainable and just community for all. We do this through abundance of ways, but primarily the implementation of the Uptown Eco Innovation District Plan, or the EID, which is the city's first adopted neighborhood plan. This focuses on facets of community development, infrastructure development, and mobility. You can go 2 slides forward, Osei. Project interaction talks have been taking place between DLC and Uptown Partners since about the late 2010s, early 2020s, for a mural to depict changing environments of Uptown on that 605 location. In the middle of 2021, July 20th to August 20th, there was a request for proposals from the Uptown Arts Committee, and close to 30 proposals were received from that staff. A agreement was signed on May 15th of 2022 between the artists and the selected artist and Uptown Partners, and then the painting was subsequently painted on the side of the building. After the notice was posted on the physical location in 2023, around March, Duquesne Light and Uptown Partners went in front of the ZBA, which the verdict allowed the mural to remain on the physical location without any alteration. And to that end, as a party that commissioned the project, Uptown Partners has and will continue to support this mural. And then next slide, if you have any questions or concerns, my email and phone number are there for your needs. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will now turn this over to Dr. Brittany McDonald to share her screen.
Alrighty, hold on one moment.
Bear with me 1 second. I have to stop. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Okay, could you see the full screen? Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. So although, you know, zoning is calling this a Uptown Mural Neighborhood Gateway sign, I've, you know, titled this presentation Uptown Mural Neighborhood Public Art, because that's basically what this is. I won't go into the whole about us, as everybody is pretty much aware, and Scott, you know, went through a lot of that information already. Our mission and vision, he went over the mission quickly, some information regarding our values. You know, we try to recognize the assets that we have within our community and build upon them. We try to focus on responsible and equitable revitalization without displacement. And then our vision is also listed here. This is our little team. All right, now some background information regarding why we are here this evening. So basically we're trying to commission a large scale mural for some years. It was actually an idea before I even came to Uptown Partners in 2020. So, you know, as most folks know, public art is, you know, a unique part of Uptown. If you go down Gist Street, if you go through Locust and multiple, you know, other areas of the community, there's a lot of public art installations, whether it's sculptures, murals, mosaics, and other things that are like, you can't help but miss them. So whenever I first joined the organization back in 2020, that was one of my first things, was to kind of seek out some funding, like how can we do this mural? So we found a location, which was Duquesne Light substation down on the corner of Forbes and Boyd. And it's the curved wall that most of you all might be familiar with. So back in 2021, we secured a grant from the PNC Charitable Trust for $18,500 to commission this mural. And Uptown Partners and the Uptown Arts Committee commissioned the mural by Shane Pilster and Max Gonzalez. And then, so it's been up, the mural's there. You know, the intent of the mural was just that, a piece of public art, a mural. It was not intended to be a gateway sign. You know, we ended up choosing the design after all of the concepts were submitted by the chosen artists. So again, like the intent was not to make this a gateway sign. The image that you can see to the left on this slide right here is the gateway sign for Uptown. And that's the James Simon Welcome to Uptown sign that greets you when you come into the community from the Birmingham Bridge, from Kirkpatrick, and from West Oakland. So early this year, we received a notice from the city regarding compliance with this mural. So that's why we are here. And it originated from a non-city complaint. So just to give a little bit of background on the Uptown Arts Committee, it was established to, you know, help create visible and accessible part of Uptown's identity, which is art. And the Uptown Arts Committee was created to celebrate, encourage, and advocate for public art in a space that is welcome to all artists. So basically what they do is, you know, they gather, convene, get all of the members, that includes some local artists. And then they do an artist call and then a selection. Here you can see a little image of Max and Shane and Q Perry. Is that me echoing or is that somebody else I need to mute it?
That's you.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So yeah. So and then that second image is just something that the Uptown Arts Committee convened last year, which was an arts exhibition at our offices. And then the third image is a installation on our book bench that changes each year with a new call to artists and a new selection. So here's an overview of the timeline. So back in 2021, we did a call for artists, as Scott mentioned. It was from July 30th until August 20th. There was an actual, you know, selection and contract signed in 2022. The mural was completed June 6th of 2022. And the compliance issues or notices that we received were December 21st, 2022 and January 23rd of 2023. Now, just to be clear, the December 21st notice was withdrawn because the initial complaint that was filed, I think via a 311, was basically stating that it's a gateway sign and it needed to have the City of Pittsburgh Art Commission approval and review, which is simply not true because this is not a city-owned building. It's a building owned by Duquesne Light. So that initial complaint was withdrawn and thrown out. So then we received another one because of the constant complaints about this mural on this wall. So we had to go in front of the zoning board and try to appeal this back in April of this year. And now here we are. So what we were told was essentially, you know, the mural's not going anywhere. The mural is fine. We simply have to go through these steps. So that's what we're doing. So here are the concepts that were submitted by Shane and Max for the mural. This is an image of Shane and Max. This is the wall that it's located on. Here are some examples of work that they've done. The mural on the left is something that they've done on the south side. And then the mural to the right is one that they've done in Millville. So this slide just kind of shows the actual like measurements of the sign. So it's about 14 feet wide, 30 feet high. So it's pretty large. And that's the image to the right is what it looks like today. So that is really the end of the presentation. Here's some more of our contact information. If anybody has questions, you can ask them now, or feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. But again, I just want to reiterate, this is not a development project. It was a call for art. It was an art installation, and the concept ended up being, it's saying Uptown and then having the zip code. So that's why we would not be going through the DRP process for this. And that is why we didn't really feel that we had to go through zoning. And to be honest, not having to go through planning commission. But we are going through the processes now as a result of the incessant complaints about this mural. So does anybody have any questions for me? Thank you. Well, the next step for us is basically to go to present this same presentation to Planning Commission, and that should be the end of this. But I will say, it's wildly unfortunate whenever the city's time and resources gets wasted because of issues that have literally nothing to do with actual compliance. Thank you.
Well, oh, okay, Dylan.
So it's actually me, Diane Day, and I'm the Director of Programs Policy and Special Initiatives. And I was trying to raise my hand, and for some reason it wouldn't allow me, so I came and joined Dylan. So I just want to say thank you for that presentation. First of all, I love the art. So I think it is a beautiful addition to Uptown's area. I do have some questions so that going forward, as we all are working on the same goal as far as making sure the Hill District is a beautiful place and it has things in place to draw people to our neighborhoods. I just want to make sure that we are communicating, and again, I'm new, so there may be things that have happened that I'm not aware of. Just want to make sure that we're in communication with each other so that we all understand what's going on and that we all can support each other going forward. So whenever you guys are meeting and coming up with such concepts, do you plan to work with the DRP going forward for projects that are not complete?
No, development projects, sure. For instance, like what we did with the Beacon Communities development, which is an affordable project on Fifth Avenue. An art installation that's situated on Fifth or Forbes in our corridor, we would not be. It doesn't even go through our real estate and development design process. It's simply, we do, like I said, a call for artists. The Uptown Arts Committee goes through that and, selects who it's going to be. I secure the funding, and then we follow through with the project.
Okay, so again, I'm just trying to understand as a new person. So under normal circumstances for any art, we wouldn't necessarily be called to a dam to discuss it, right? You're only doing it as a result of the complaints. Is that correct?
That is correct. If this was something that was intended to be like a gateway sign, or if this was something that needed to go through the whole city process, like if this was on city-owned property, then absolutely. But that's not the requirements here. So at this point, we're kind of doing this just to appease whomever. But, we already went through dealing with the city and being told we didn't have to do this and that everything was fine. So that's why we're going through this. But like I said, a development, like an actual development project, absolutely.
Okay.
We make sure that we went through the proper channels with the RCOs that exist in the Greater Hill. But for a mural that is situated directly across the street from Duquesne University, that's been in the works and been up for a year, yeah, no.
Okay. No, I just need to understand that because part of my role is to make sure that we're all communicating and working together to make sure we hit the same common goals. And thank you for clearing that up for me.
Sure thing, no problem. Thanks.
Diane, can I mention to you that Arts in HD has a public art process that might need to be forwarded in case that somebody comes in the non-uptown section of the Hill to review the project and make sure that it aligns with the master plan.
Oh, I would love anything that's going to help me understand how this process works and make sure that it works in a positive way. I would love for you to send that to me.
All right, if there are no additional questions, then again, this meeting is being recorded, so it will be provided to all of your registered community organizations, and the development activities meeting report will be available online. And thank you for your time this evening, and this meeting is concluded. You have a good evening.
Thanks. Have a nice evening, everyone.